Are you overwhelmed by the high cost of living on land? For individuals exploring alternatives to traditional land-based living or seeking a more stable living situation, the concept of extended time on a cruise ship holds a unique appeal. This article will break down the practicalities and costs of spending either 4 months a year or a full year at sea, while also addressing the significant financial hurdle of achieving this for under $1,000 a month, including airfare from a hub like Seattle. Please subscribe and visit the description to click on the link to our article on this subject to supplement your understanding, especially of the financial breakdown. The primary barrier to ultra-low-cost cruise living is the inherent operational expense of the cruise ships. Cruise liners are floating resorts, providing not just a cabin, but comprehensive dining, entertainment, utilities, maintenance, security, and global transportation. These all-inclusive services translate into a per-person daily rate that typically starts at $100 to $150 or more for even the most basic inside cabin, even with aggressive discounts. To put this into perspective, a budget of $1,000 a month equates to roughly $33 per day. This substantial daily gap makes hitting that target consistently impossible for a paying passenger. Let's explore the various methods people consider for spending significant time at sea and their associated costs. 1. Working on the ship, the only path under $1,000. The most direct and generally the only way to genuinely spend months or years on a cruise ship for less than $1,000 out of pocket is to secure employment as a crew member. Cruise lines provide free room and board, along with basic medical care, to their staff. While this eliminates major living expenses, it's important to remember this is a demanding job with long hours, not a leisure experience. Roles range across hospitality, retail, entertainment, and maritime operations. 2. The extreme casino comp strategy, high risk, not recommended for budgeting. Some individuals reportedly manage to sustain long-term cruise living at minimal cost by becoming high-frequency gamblers in the ship's casino. By spending significant amounts of money, often very large sums over time, they aim to earn enough comps to offset their travel expenses. However, this is not a reliable or recommended budgeting strategy. It carries inherent gambling risks, requires a substantial upfront financial commitment which you could lose, and the level of comps earned can vary widely based on individual play and casino policy. Essentially, it's gambling for your lodging, making it a high-risk approach that can lead to significant financial losses rather than genuine savings. 3. Residential cruise ships, a dedicated but costlier living option. A niche but growing market involves residential or live-aboard cruise ships specifically designed for extended or permanent living at sea. These aim to provide a more stable, home-like environment with various amenities. Victoria Cruises Lines reports prices starting around $2,400 to $2,500 per month for an inside cabin, typically requiring a long-term contract. While more affordable than many standard cruises, this remains significantly above the $1,000 monthly target. Villa V residences generally involve purchasing a cabin, with annual costs starting around $129,000, approximately $10,750 per month, or rental segments beginning at about $119 per day, roughly $3,570 per month. These options illustrate that even purpose-built long-term cruise living operates at a considerably higher price point. For those considering spending 4 months a year on a cruise ship, using Seattle as a potential base introduces specific limitations and cost challenges. Seattle cruise season. Seattle's primary cruise season, dominated by Alaska itineraries, typically runs only from May to September. This seasonal constraint means continuous 4 to 8 month cruising directly from Seattle is not feasible. You'd encounter significant gaps in the off-season. Cost of Alaska cruises. Even the cheapest 7-night Alaska cruises from Seattle generally start at $700 to $1,000 per person for an inside cabin before taxes, fees, and gratuities. Factoring these in, the per-day rate often reaches $120 to $150. $120 per day times 30 days equals $3,600 per month. Limited long-term Seattle itineraries. There are no standard residential or world cruise itineraries that continuously depart from and return to Seattle for multiple months. While booking back-to-back Alaska cruises is possible, it doesn't significantly reduce the daily rate and is limited by the short season. Repositioning cruises that depart Seattle typically don't return to the same port, thus breaking the Seattle-only constraint and incurring airfare costs to return. Estimated cost for 4 months annually, highly optimized bare bones from Seattle. Let's assume an extremely optimistic scenario where you find consistently deep, rare sales during the Alaska season, stringing together the cheapest possible options. Cruise fares, base plus taxes, fees plus gratuities. An extremely optimistic average of $800 per person for a 7-night inside cabin, including all mandatory charges. This translates to about $114 per night. $114 per night times 120 days equals $13,680 for the cruise portion. Airfare, none, as this scenario is limited to Seattle departures. Onboard spending, absolutely zero, which is highly unrealistic for 4 months, but assumed for this calculation. Travel insurance, essential for extended travel, estimate $150. Port day spending, minimal, perhaps $300, $75 per month for small necessities. Miscellaneous personal care, $300, $75 per month for toiletries, etc. Total estimated cost for 4 months annually, Seattle only. $13,680 plus $150 plus $300 plus $300 equals $14,430. Monthly average, $14,430 divided by 4 months equals approximately $3,608 per month. Even in this highly improbable scenario, staying within a Seattle-only base for 4 months annually still places costs significantly above the $1,000 monthly target. For those committed to making a cruise ship their full-time home, a year-round approach, which is 365 days, often presents a more streamlined and potentially better value option than fragmented multi-month trips. This strategy allows for strategic itinerary planning that leverages cost efficiencies and maximizes comfort, potentially offering a lower average monthly cost for the cruise fare itself compared to intermittent 4-month segments annually. Strategic advantages of year-round cruising, continuous good weather. A significant benefit is the ability to continuously follow the sun. Cruise lines globally reposition their fleets to optimal climates, avoiding harsh winters, hurricane seasons, or monsoons. This ensures a consistent, comfortable living environment. Leveraging repositioning cruises for value. These longer voyages, often 10 to 30 or more nights, occur as ships move between seasonal home ports, for example, transatlantic or trans-Pacific crossings. They frequently offer a significantly lower per-day rate than standard itineraries, which a year-round cruiser can book strategically to reduce their overall annual average cost. How to achieve full-time cruise living as a paying passenger. To make year-round cruise living as financially sustainable as possible for a paying passenger, strict adherence to these strategies is essential. Extreme frugality on board. This is non-negotiable. It means relying solely on complimentary dining like buffets and main dining rooms, strictly avoiding all extra-charge specialty restaurants, eschewing alcoholic beverages and soda packages, and skipping all paid shore excursions. Internet use should be limited to free options if available via loyalty or shore-based Wi-Fi. All shopping on board and in port should be avoided. Focus on budget cruise lines. Prioritize lines known for lower fares such as Carnival Cruise Line or MSC Cruises, or older ships within the Royal Caribbean and Norwegian Cruise Line fleets. Always choose inside cabins. The smallest and least expensive cabin category will be your consistent living space. Strategic itinerary planning. Work with a specialized travel agent who understands year-round cruising to meticulously plan back-to-back cruises, leveraging repositioning segments and off-season departures for the best per-day rates. This includes optimizing airfare from your home base, for example, Seattle, to minimize travel costs between cruise segments. Estimated cost breakdown for a full year, 12 months of full-time cruising. Cruise fares, including taxes, port fees, and gratuities. Using an optimistic rock-bottom average of $70 per day, reflecting strategic booking of lower-cost itineraries. $70 per day times 365 days equals $25,550 for the cruise portion. This equates to a monthly average of approximately $2,129 for the cruise fare itself. Airfare from Seattle. For year-round global cruising, you'll need flights to reach optimal starting points for long itineraries. For example, flying from Seattle to Miami for a Caribbean season, or to Europe for a transatlantic crossing, and potentially a return flight to Seattle if you decide to take a break. Budget for a total annual airfare cost of $2,500. Other essential costs. Annual estimate travel insurance. A comprehensive annual travel insurance policy is crucial. Budget $600. Port day minimal spending. Even without excursions, there might be small unavoidable costs in port. Budget $900, which is $75 per month. Personal care and miscellaneous toiletries, prescription refills, occasional laundry if not covered by loyalty perks, and other small unforeseen expenses. Budget $900, $75 per month. Contingency fund, essential for any unexpected medical needs, short-term stays off the ship, or other unforeseen circumstances. A minimum of $1,000 is highly advisable. Total estimated cost for 12 months of full-time cruising. Cruise fares, $25,550. Airfare, $2,500. Travel insurance, $600. Port spending, $900. Miscellaneous, $900. Contingency fund, $1,000 grand total, $31,450. This results in an average monthly cost of approximately $2,621. Conclusion: a viable but not sub-$1,000 living arrangement. Living on a cruise ship, whether for 4 months a year or full-time, presents a complex yet potentially rewarding alternative to conventional land-based living. It offers consistent travel, included food and entertainment, and the benefit of always being in comfortable weather. Furthermore, the estimated average monthly cost of around $2,600 to $3,500 for a full-time cruiser can be comparable to, or even less than, typical living expenses in many major cities, especially when factoring in rent or mortgage, utilities, groceries, and entertainment on land. However, the aim of achieving this lifestyle for under $1,000 a month as a paying passenger remains unrealistic. The only consistent path to that specific budget level is through securing employment on the ship. For those with a more flexible budget, full-time cruising presents a compelling and practical choice for continuous living at sea. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and don't forget to check the description for the link to our article on medium.com for a better understanding of the content in this video.